All right, we're live. This is Monday morning, 9:30 a.m. Pacific time. This is John Moran with Solutions 8, and this is the Ask Me Anything. Last week we had a issue in seeing the questions. So I'm going to chat everyone inside of Solutions 8 and just make sure those chats are coming through. I don't see them. Let's see. All right. So I'm just going to wait till everyone kind of arrives. Next week, I am going to be actually out of town, so I'm not going to be doing a live next week, but I will be the following week. If you're part of the U versus Traffic, which is a Friday meeting that we have with anyone that would like to join, and it's also I think there's a monthly fee, but we get a kind of like a private hour with everyone, and we can share screens, go over any sort of high level discussions. We kind of do deep dives into people's issues or problems or questions. We also go through and make sure that everything that we kind of teach here at Solutions 8 is being implemented properly. So if that's something that you're interested in, feel free to shoot me an email, john@sol8.com if you wanted to join that. It's pretty cool. It's kind of like our mastermind meeting. So come with questions, learn a lot, and have some fun. Just waiting for everyone to kind of join in here. If you have any questions, go ahead and feel free to drop them in. Otherwise, I'll be sitting here awkwardly for the first few minutes. Not a whole lot of news updates in Google Ads land this week. Been pretty quiet with a lot of the updates. But one thing, Mohammed, good morning, John. Hey, Michael. One of the updates I think that we're testing that might be worthwhile if you're in e-commerce is we started to use discovery with coupon codes, testing that this week. So I will keep you posted on how that is going to play out. We have a fairly large client that spends about $50,000 per month, and we're kind of tapped out in a lot of the shopping campaigns and DSA and search campaigns. So we're gonna be testing some exploratory campaigns now that we've reached like a little over 50K per month in ad spend. But since it's e-commerce, we're going to test coupon codes. We're using a unique coupon code. And I see the chats here, so all that stuff's good. We're going to try a unique coupon code and see how that functions with our attribution software that we also have, and see how that plays out. So I'll keep you guys posted. Morning, Mohammed. Nice to have you here. Michael, for DSA, if I'm only adding targets to include my product page URLs, what's the purpose of adding in negative targets? Or are they not needed in this case? So usually negative targets is if you're going to be testing everywhere on the site. Now, there is reasons to use like all web pages, or if you're using categories, then you want to have dynamic ad targets because some pages could fall under the same category that might be a blog. But if you're using only URL targets, you don't need most of the time to add in a negative dynamic ad target just because you've used the rule of saying only. Now, if you're using rules to say like contains, sometimes you need dynamic ad targets or dynamic negative ad targets. If you're using just the rule of like only and you have specific URLs, you'll be fine. Shouldn't happen. One thing that we always say that's funny about Google is we could always count on the consistent thing with Google of being inconsistent. So you'll have the landing page tab inside of Google Ads when you're running a DSA campaign. You'll see landing pages. You can click on that and just make sure that the landing pages that people are landing on are only the pages that you have in your dynamic ad targets. If you do see other pages, there should be a reason for it. But if you do see other pages, you can always just add those as dynamic negative ad targets. But that landing page, that page called landing pages inside of your DSA campaigns on the left-hand side navigation is where you'll see everywhere that traffic goes. So if those line up perfectly, you should be good to go. Bemby, hi, no question. No worries. Hi, Bemby. Albion, hello, John. My Google Merchant Center and Smart Shopping campaign just approved 3 days ago, ready to serve. First day, no impressions. That's normal. Second day, only 20 impressions. Third day, 25 impressions, one click. Yeah. So in the beginning, especially with Smart Shopping campaigns, it is watching traffic. It's watching traffic heavily. So what it's doing is trying to identify. And just also make sure that you don't have a ROAS goal on, because that will actually restrict really, really hard. So if you do have a ROAS goal, turn it off. Don't turn it on for at least 60, better if 90, better if a year later. But make sure you don't have a ROAS goal. Also, Alvin, make sure that you have all of your products approved. Sometimes we see that, uploaded GMC, everything looks fine there. Look at Google Ads, and then we didn't see that, a day later, 60% of the products were disapproved. So sometimes if you're only running like 2 of the 50, that could be cause for some concern there, because that would be low impressions and clicks. But if everything looks good on your products, everything's approved, you don't have a ROAS goal, give it a little bit more time. Another thing too is just make sure that your titles and descriptions are something that's easily identified with Google. Make sure they're not too vague. Make sure they're not too branded. So you're not using a pair of shoes and calling them inspiration. Make sure that you're giving Google enough content for it to be able to match. But in the beginning, for about 2 days to sometimes a week, it's watching traffic and seeing if it can identify who is a good audience to start to show ads to massively. Another thing that you're going to see is that once the impressions and clicks start to happen, you have at least 1,000 match users, Google will start to remark to them. So you'll see impressions rise and clicks rise drastically. But in the beginning, it's watching traffic and it's trying to test an audience, because it's still using maximize conversion value as its bidding strategy from day one. So if you have a $50 per day budget, it's going to say, okay, well, how do I maximize conversion value? Who's the best people to target? And so it's going to watch the traffic and then say, okay, these people seem like what they're saying is close to the absolute 0.0 of conversion, which means we think they're going to convert soon. So then they start to blast out those ads. You get those impressions and clicks, and it should be a fairly quick hockey stick after anywhere between 1 day and 1 week is on average of what we usually see. Shahid, hi John. Hope you're well. Hey, good. I hope you're well too. Yeah, I'm doing great. What's the best smart bidding option to use for an e-commerce business with a large number of SKUs? Smart shopping for sure. Especially for a large number of SKUs, even if they're not even related to each other. But I would always use smart shopping as a campaign. Again, leave the ROAS goal off for at least 90 days. Allow all those products to get impressions and clicks and start to make some sales before you ever instill the ROAS goals. Because as soon as you instill a ROAS goal, you basically just kind of lock in all the products that are selling, and you really test a lot of new products. So make sure you give it a long time, but use maximize conversion value because it's the only bidding strategy that's available. And then only use that target return on ad spend goal by day 90 if you can. If you're talking about DSA campaign or search campaign, I usually like target CPA. Target CPA in the beginning, you can switch later on to target ROAS, but the difference between for an e-commerce is when you use target ROAS, you are giving 2 restrictions to the campaign. Can you make a sale? And can you make a sale large enough to make me my money back? That's a little bit more difficult, especially in the beginning. Target CPA is just, can you make a sale? And I like that because I can use 1 restriction, so I can start to scale quicker, and I can broaden my market, and I can broaden my audience, and I can get more impressions and clicks with 1 restriction of target CPA. The reason why that is because if you know what your average cart value is, and the good way to find average cart value, hopefully you're only tracking 1 conversion value or 1 conversion action, which is the sale. So not like you're not counting add to carts and view items and searches and start to checkouts as conversions. Don't do that. Just only count the sale as a conversion. But you can build a custom column that is conversion value divided by conversions, and that will tell you your average cart value. So conversion value divided by conversions, that will tell you your average cart value. And if your average cart value is $100, then you know your target CPA needs to be 25, so that you have an average, or so you can have a 400 ROAS. What's nice about that is it places only 1 restriction in the account. It's not going to say, well, this product is only $12, it's $3 a click, and I don't know if I'll make the return on ad spend, so I'm just not going to show that item. But you don't know what your average cart value is on a $12 item. It could be $75 because they add that, they add 6 more, and then they add 2 things, and then your average cart value looks good. So I like using target CPA because it doesn't ask Google to make a sale and make a large sale. It just says make a sale. I identify what's making the sales. I reverse engineer what the average cart value is to what my target CPA needs to be, and that becomes a very scalable model. Daniel, hey John. Hey Daniel, how quickly would you recommend scaling if things go very well, and what should be the percentage of scaling? Man, I've scaled campaigns from $300 a day to $2,000 a day within 1 month, because each time I increased the daily ad spend, my ROAS did not dip. Sometimes my ROAS actually increased. So what's interesting about that is when you scale, I look at what the result is and what I need to do. If I scale, let's say a good test scale is increased by 20% of your daily budget. That's a fairly aggressive, but still good. When you increase 20% of your daily budget, if you see the next 4 to 5 days your ROAS dip, hang tight. know your time lag, know your account's personality. When I say your account's personality is you need to know your account's time lag. What that means is that if I was to make, I think I might have dropped off there. My internet froze and then came back. Hopefully you guys are all still here. Can someone send in the chat if you guys can still see me? It says successfully reconnected. I don't know what happened. We like lost internet here in the building for a minute. Sorry about that, everyone. I just have all the technical difficulties for whatever reason. It always just happens. Oh, okay, cool. Thanks, Michael. And thanks, Mebby. Awesome. So you need to know your time lag in the account. That's extremely important. If you know that it takes 12 days before someone makes an impression, or 12 days when someone makes an impression for a conversion to happen, when you increase your ad spend, you need to wait at least those 12 days because you're like, hey, I'm going after new audiences. Why aren't they buying yet? Well, it takes an average of 12 days. So if you increase by 20% and you don't see your ROAS stay the same or increase, if it decreases, hang tight for at least the 12 days. If you add your ad spend and everything looks fine, you're making more sales at same or very similar, maybe a little bit less ROAS, and everything looks good, increase again, because this is indicative that Google knows that it can actually target people, that it's like, hey, I'm ready to target these people if you just add more ad spend. So look at the result and look at the time lag. If you increase and the ROAS decreases, increase spend, ROAS decreases, what's your time lag? Wait that 12 days, see if it comes back, then do it again. If you increase your spend and ROAS stays the same, or maybe even increases, even if it dips just a little bit, but more sales come in, do it again, and you'll find your ceiling. So it's not really a set rule. A 20% increase is a really aggressive increase inside of Google Ads, just because you can increase by 50%, but your ROAS might drop 50%, and then you got to wait, but now you're in negative. So usually I say 20% is really good. Let's see here. What is your preferred landing page lead magnet? You know what's interesting is I can't stand lead magnets a lot. I like lead magnets when it was for Facebook and Instagram or TikTok, something like that. I like lead magnets a lot more. Google is the best direct response network you could think of. With it being direct response, what that means, in my opinion, is even if it's lead generation or if it's e-commerce or anything, there's billions of people in the world. There is a large group of people that most likely need your service or want to buy your product. So when Google is a little bit more of an expensive network, I would want to put my ad spend to where I can get that direct response quickly. If I need a lead magnet, it means that there might not be the direct response type of industry that Google's going to be best for. It might be best to start that on Facebook and Instagram. We actually market a lot for ourselves on Facebook and Instagram for our events because it's less expensive than Google. Google is a very expensive network. It's getting more expensive. So if you're in e-commerce, usually coupon code works really well. I don't like that because it's discounting, and I'd rather just make a sale to a direct response person who wants to buy my product today and find more of those people. If it's lead generation and they don't want to get in contact with me just yet, it's hard because I'm like, there's got to be people that want it. I can't think of an industry unless you're in a brand new industry that no one's ever heard of and you need to convince people. You need to have a big budget to do that. If you're going to pioneer an industry on a very expensive network like Google, make sure you have 100 grand a month. It's going to take a long time. It's going to take a lot of work and a lot of outbound campaigns and not a lot of conversions. But e-commerce coupon codes work well for lead generation. Like white papers and like ebooks, those things work pretty well, but I don't really have a good one just because I actually advise running against that a lot. But if you do have to run a lead magnet, try Discovery Network. The Discovery Network works pretty well for lead magnets because you get top of funnel people that aren't really quite interested but can be convinced. But in my opinion, I wouldn't pay for those people. I'd put all my ad spend to bottom of the funnel immediately because people are going to Google saying, I need to find this product or I need to find this service. And we're like, hey, we have it here, but would you like a lead magnet instead? Sometimes you're diverting the conversation. And then think about competitive industry. If you have 3 competitors offering great pricing and great products, and then you put a lead magnet in front and then pay for that, you might get the lead magnet, but your competitors get the sale. So just think about, is my audience a direct response audience? If not, my opinion, don't start at Google. Start on Facebook and Instagram. You can get a much broader audience for a lot less expensive. We ran this a bunch of times where we A/B tested Facebook and Instagram versus YouTube or versus Google. the CPA always is like 20 to 50% more on Google than it is on Facebook and Instagram. Usually the quality is better on Google. But again, I don't have the answer for every industry. So hopefully that helps. For DSA to product URLs, how do you prevent traffic from going to a product that's currently out of stock? Do you use any scripts that check for stock status and pause? Yes. So for products that are out of stock, we have a really close working relationship with all of our clients that we let them know, hey, if a product goes out of stock, you need to let me know. We try to check internally to see if the good product's gone out of stock on Smart Shopping, but then it's a bigger issue. If we have clients that have products that go in out of stock quite frequently and they're good selling products, we need to fix that first, because that's going to just halt everything inside of Google. But for DSA, it's a very manual process. If you have a product that goes out of stock, you had to add negative dynamic ad target or stop targeting that page. There's really no good scripts, just because it doesn't link to GMC, and there's nothing that Google, from a search perspective, because it's DSA, it's a search network, is going to let us know autonomously, hey, we checked the site page and there's an out of stock here. Someone may have come up with a tool that does that, but we try very hard when we even in the sales process of getting a new client here solutions, they like, if your products go out of stock frequently, we're going to have issues. We need to have products that are replenishable, scalable, and especially because usually the clients that contact us are like, okay, I have $2 grand or $3 grand, but I need to spend 40, 50, 60, 70. They like to scale big. And so those little products or products that are those little issues, like products going out of stock, those halt scale and sometimes just become a tumultuous relationship. So it's a little bit something that I would say, but there's nothing good about Google Ads that tells you that things go out of stock. What is a good SOP is check your Smart Shopping campaigns first, see if there's any things out of stock, and then go and apply that to your DSA campaigns. Let's see. Hi, Interdeep. Hi, Interdeep. When should we create conversion action sets? Well, if you have a particular campaign that you need to have go after a specific set of conversion actions. So let's say you have a discovery campaign, and for whatever reason you don't want to track conversions. I don't know why you wouldn't, but if you are running any sort of campaign that is need to target a group of actions because you have it going to a very specific set of pages that you need to measure those actions. Maybe you have a remarketing campaign that's going after the schedule, and you want to only track those, like the people that are scheduling, but you don't want to have it. You don't want to track people that are downloading a lead magnet, like a white paper, and you say, I really don't care about any other conversions besides the schedule, and I'm going to set my target CPA because then I'm going to pay per schedule for that remarketing campaign. You can, or maybe a group like schedule or contact, or schedule, contact, and phone call. You can create a conversion action set, apply that conversion action set to a campaign. My opinion, I don't know why you wouldn't necessarily want to track everything inside of that campaign, because 3 months from now you might forget, oh yeah, I'm only actually tracking these, but people are calling a lot more and I'm not tracking those. The only thing that I would say is if you want to use an automated bidding strategy, target cost for acquisition for any specific sets of acquisition for a campaign, you could do that. Usually I just segment by conversion action and look at what each one is costing me. So not necessarily a great use case. I don't use them very often just because I only track what I know I need and know I want. We have some clients that have people that are signing up, people that are booking appointments, people that are calling. I'm like, I don't care. I'm only tracking free trials because that's our goal that our client wants to track. So I could care less about everything else. So that's something that if you wanted to use target CPA or target ROAS, and you want to have it on a very specific set of action items, then you can use that. But segment by conversion action does really the same thing, and you just adjust your bids accordingly. The nice thing about using segment by conversion action, seeing those conversions and using your target CPA, is you can find a good balance between the ones that you do want to pay for and you don't want to pay for, and you can probably increase your target CPA to get more scalability, knowing that you might get some ancillary conversion actions that you didn't really want, but is indicative that traffic might convert later, or it is at least quality audience. Shahid, do you typically use DSA campaigns to feed Smart Shopping additional data? In your experience, is it's a profitable campaign? Yes. So DSA, and let me read this again so everyone can see, typically use dynamic search ads to feed Smart Shopping additional data. Or in your experience, is it a profitable campaign in its own right? They absolutely are fantastic campaigns on their own, but they're also fantastic campaigns for Smart Shopping. The difference being, since it is on the search network, expect to pay a higher CPC, because usually search is 40 to 60% higher than Smart Shopping. possibly even 300% in some industries, where your smart shopping clicks are 50 cents and your DSA is like $3. So when you're using DSA campaigns, they can be very good by themselves. I love DSA campaigns a lot. If you have a attribution set to first click and you're running smart shopping and DSA at the same time, make sure you're watching your top conversion path very closely, because you might be generating a whole lot of DSA users that are converting, but remarketing inside of smart shopping is doing all the work bringing them back. Well, your remarketing campaign that's inside of your smart shopping campaign might be working overtime, which means it's causing a lot of spend, it's getting a lot of clicks. But when they sell, even though it's coming through smart shopping, DSA, since you're on first click attribution, is getting all the credit. And you're like, well, DSA is just working a lot better than smart shopping. So you show up smart shopping, your DSA campaign starts to fail. If you're running a last click, reverse it. Bringing in a lot of people from DSA. Remarketing and smart shopping is bringing them back. Smart shopping converts them. DSA looks like it's spending a whole lot of money, but doesn't have good conversions. You can use linear. So you can say, I don't really care if these two share audiences, just give them 50-50 click attribution or conversion attribution. So your attribution is going to be really important to how you measure, and make sure you don't outsmart yourself by saying, well, one looks a lot better than the other one. Be mindful of your attribution model, because if you then shut one off, you could cause the other one to fail, and now you have no campaigns. But inside of DSA campaigns, it does help feed smart shopping, because it says this person looks like this person. You know, it's basically saying this is the age, the sex, location, the interests, the hobbies, the affinities, all of the data that Google has on the user. And they say these people usually Google this, and then they come to the site and buy, regardless if smart shopping was able to remarket them or not. So smart shopping says, aha, I'm going to use search with display select, and I'm going to see what other people are searching that looks like that, and I'm going to proactively target those users. And now DSA has taught smart shopping. So two things: it can be good on its own. It can be good on its own with smart shopping. Be mindful of your attribution models. Treat them the same. Give them equal amount of appropriate responsibility for your attribution models, and also grade them the same. If I'm using linear and I know that DSA and smart shopping always share the same user, or at least a lot of the time, I'm going to set a target ROAS goal 50% less than what I need. I need a 400% ROAS goal, but I know smart shopping and I know DSA share those users. Well, if I'm using linear and it splits in half, I can't put a 400% ROAS goal on DSA and a 400% ROAS goal on a smart shopping campaign, because then as soon as the sale comes in, it's going to say, well, take 400%, you get 200, you get 200. And now they're both failing, and they're both going to start to get less impressions and clicks. So make sure that you set up your proper ROAS goals, proper attribution models, understand your top conversion path, understand your time lag, and then monitor those accordingly. But yes, they do help each other very well. All right. Inside my search campaign, I put broad match by baby bag with target CPA, but it shows low search volume. Is it okay, or should I just put baby bag without buy? I would try a few different ones. Maybe people don't really necessarily have an indication of buy baby bag. Alvin, how long has the campaign been running to? Just as a quick understanding. Also, if your target CPA is set too low, especially in the beginning, what it may think is that there's a lot of people that are out there that are Googling this, but it is expensive. And if my target CPA was $15 and these are coming in at $6 clicks, it needs to have over 50% conversion rate just to make that CPA happen. So it might not even start. Only 2 days. Yeah, give it time. And then what's your target CPA set to, and what is the price of the product? So that's just one thing. While you're typing that, I'm going to move on to the next one. So we'll come back to that. Sam, hi John. Hey Sam. 2 conversions on the 17th in conversion by time, but not being counted in conversions. Sam, do you have the one that's in conversion time on the 17th? I've done this before. It might have come from a campaign, ad group, ad, or keyword that has been disabled or turned off. So one time I did this where I had 2 campaigns running. I shut off one campaign, conversions by conversion time showed a conversion, but in my conversion tab, it wasn't, because I was only looking at all enabled. So the conversions of the all enabled, when I did all but removed, I saw that a pause one had a conversion that came in like that day, because the conversion is, or sorry, not that day, but like the 17th, that day that I was looking at, because it counts by a conversion click. Conversion by conversion time counts at when the time took place. You could actually have an indication in a situation, Sam, where someone clicked 26 days ago, just converted on the 17th, and you need to look back 26 days because that's when the original click took place. It just showed up on the 17th because they bought on the 17th, but it could be really far back. The other thing that you want to look at too is anything that's paused, and if you're only looking at all enabled, it will hide it. So you'll see the conversion by conversion time because that's what happened today. But it came from a campaign that's been recently paused, and now it's not there anymore. Let's see. Price $40. CPC 5 cents. What's the target CPA set at? If it's set at 0.5, that's going to be way too restricted. But if the price is $40 and your target CPA, I wouldn't go anything less than $40 CPA if you're in the beginning stages. So set your target CPA high, because if you set your target CPA low, it's going to say, well, I never sold this product. I don't know what it's going to take to sell this product. The cost per clicks look really high. I'm just not going to show. So maybe set your target CPA even possibly at 100. It doesn't mean you're going to get 100. It just means that you're going to allow the campaign to run and you're going to see what you get, then start to reduce. Should we run two campaigns with different match types? For example, one campaign having broad phrase with automated bidding and the other one having exact with manual CPC. So this is something that I found is the old way of doing this, like keyword sculpting, having multiple ad groups, the exact with phrases excluded, the phrases have exact excluded, yada, yada, yada. But if you run anything broad match, that, in my opinion, has to be pretty much the only campaign. Google will simply start to show your broad match terms for exact match phrases, even if you have an exact match keyword with that exact phrase. So what Google basically says is, well, I'll just use an example, and I'm going to use the red shoe. People that know me know that I have like the red shoe. If you have a phrase, if you have a broad keyword, not broad match modified, but just a broad keyword of red shoe, and you have a exact match of red suede high heel shoe, your broad match might actually be the one that earns that search term query and not your exact, because Google is saying what campaign's having better performance, and also what is the bidding strategy for each one. If you're running broad with target CPA that's really high and your exact match has enhanced CPC, Google's like, well, this campaign has better performance, and I think I can achieve that goal in that target CPA restriction. So I'm just going to give that search term to the broad because it's broadly matched. Is just as relevant as your exact match. Google's ignoring match types now. So because of that, you have to understand that your broad will turn into your phrase and exact, even if you have the negative search term of that broad keyword inside of the broad campaign. You have to get that 100% right every single time. Otherwise, it's just going to still show. So when I run a search campaign, I use broad. That's the only thing I use. I don't use anything else. I don't use any other campaigns with phrase or exact. I just start adding in more broad search terms, and it starts to get more traction, because target CPA is going to say, I really don't care what the search term is as long as I'm getting a conversion at this cost or below, and it will run. So what I have seen though is keyword infighting. I just did another example of this to an older client that wants to come back on. We did their SEO back in the day, and they want to come back for PPC work, and they had one search term, which is their main keyword, matched to like 41 keywords in 12 of their ad groups and 9 of their campaigns. And their main keyword that they spent $120,000 a month for is starting to not show anymore, because the keyword that was exact match didn't have good performance. So it says another keyword was found with better performance in this keyword. And the other keyword that was going to win that auction, the daily budget was too low. So it says low ad break. So we're sorry, it's not going to show. And then everything else, it just didn't show because it just says we're not sure why. So you can have keyword infighting happen. That means that if you have too many keywords that can match for that search term, and they will now because Google's ignoring match types. So red high heel in broad, red high heels in suede in exact match, and red high heel suede in phrase match. All three of them are going to say, well, crap, we all can show. So which one do we give it to? This one has better performance. Yeah, but it's not a daily budget. Okay, you're just not going to get shown now. It's not going to just choose the other two instead. It happens instantaneously, so it's not just going to pick the campaign that should show the most right now. It's a campaign that has the best performance. Usually broad has better performance. So just know that if you do run those, look at ad preview and diagnosis like daily, and hit that search 10 times. That's the thing that people I don't know about ad preview and diagnosis. When you use that tool, make 10 searches. You'll get sometimes 2 different results. 9 times would be one result, but 10 times it would be a different result. So click that search ad preview or sorry, the preview diagnosis tool. Click that search query for that keyword you're looking at 10 times, and you'll see sometimes some different results. A lot of times you'll say, well, it matched too many keywords. So make sure that if you do run a broad and a phrase and exact match anywhere, same campaign, different campaigns, doesn't matter. When you do a keyword search, you're going to find out that it matches to 2 exact match because it's close, 3 phrases because it's even closer, and 12 broad because they're all close. And then sometimes your campaign will stop. So just be mindful of that. 1, how can I improve my top of page rate? Is it mostly budget? Do you recommend maximize clicks? So top of page rate is going to be generally up to 2 things: your cost per click, sometimes your daily budget to make sure that you have enough, but also your quality score. So a couple things can happen there. If you need better top of page rate, if you're using maximize clicks, you're not gonna have a good one. Maximize clicks favors the lower price CPC because it says I can get 10 clicks at $5 rather than 5 clicks at $10. So you automatically deduce your rank. So automated bidding strategies usually are not good for getting you a high placement. It's really good at getting you a low enough placement to earn as many clicks as possible for your daily ad spend at a really good conversion rate that makes you a happy campaign. My opinion, if you need to focus on visibility, use top search impression share, or what they call it, I think it's just impression share is what the bidding strategy is called now. Use impression share. What I would do is use the impression share bidding strategy, set it for the target of absolute top of page rate. The amount of time or how often you want to show up is 100%. And then I just set a max CPC that I'm not going to overspend. I don't like being at the top most often, just because it just means that I'm paying more for the exact traffic that may have gotten me anyway. So just depending upon where you need to be, but if you need to focus on the visibility and you need to be at the top and you need to be there quite often to start to gain some traffic, definitely use cases for that. But I would use impression share. I have a campaign right now where that gets like 27% conversion rates at impression share because that #1 position is like gold. I pay $28 to $30 per click, but I get 30% conversion rate. So $90 cost per lead is happy for that client. They do loans, so they're a lot of money. But I would say that do the impression share, absolute top or top of page, wherever you'd like, 100% of the time, set a max CPC that you are not going to want to go over. Then your bid strategy report will show you, hey, you wanted 100, I got you 88, 87, 89, 91, 82. It'll show you the days of where you were each day when you look at that bid strategy report. And it says you want to be here, we got you there. If you did this, you would be there. But since you're choosing this, you're now here. And it gives you the whole result. And it'll tell you exactly what you need to do. So impression share, wait a week, look at your bid strategy report, and then find out if that's good for you. Let's see. Okay, I have multiple conversion actions like form submission, PDF download, click to email, etc. My clients wants more from my submissions and PDF downloads than any other type of conversion. Any strategy? Yes. So I don't have a full strategy for you, but one thing that we did is we had a client that said, hey, we need only people that have more than $10,000 in debt before monetizable. But I was getting leads that were like, I only have 2,000 in debt, 7,000 in debt, that kind of stuff. So what I did is I used Target CPA, and I had to target only 1 conversion action. Now, again, this is going to be a good use case for conversion action sets. But in your conversion action sets, you want to select the conversion actions that your client cares about. And then those are going to be the only conversions that are counted as a conversion. Even you might get other conversions, but they're just not going to be counted. Set your appropriate bid, set your appropriate budget. But I use a Target CPA bidding strategy, and I said I will pay $30 or less for these conversions, even if I had other conversions coming in. And then what happened was I got a big group of conversions, but what I saw is I started to get more conversions for the ones that I wanted because those are what the bidding strategy is trying to get. So I set a Target CPA, I think at $30. I had 40% conversion rates just because of the mass amount of traffic and people in debt looking for help. It was an easy campaign. But I saw that I had like 1,000 conversions of people over $10,000 in debt, and then like 400 people that had under $10,000 in debt. And those 400 people, I just had to wash. I'm like, I can't stop it. It's a personal issue. People still Google the same thing, whether they're $9,000 or $11,000 in debt. So it's not something that I can just tweak. But what I did is I only counted that conversion, and then saw that when I was getting those conversions I wanted were in a good CPA at a good conversion rate. So I'm like, hey, we got these other ones, but we're just going to toss them, and I'm not going to care about them because the ones that we want, we're getting a good get a good result on and good conversions. So you can use conversion action sets, use target CPA. You're going to pay more, or you're going to pay only for the ones that you want to get. That's actually not true. You're going to pay for everything, but you're going to pay and monitor the results of the ones that you want, and then scale that, with daily ad spend or even target CPA if they're valuable. Do landing pages convert better than sending to the website? I cannot stand landing pages. On average, and I have data to prove this, it takes 2.3 to 2.6 pages on average before a conversion. I'm counting the thank you page, and I counted the confirmation page. You have to make sure that you are going to, if you're using a squeeze page or landing page, you have to get every single objection on that page covered that can't be covered by any other page. And you have to think about it. If you're wrong, you're going to lose conversions. That's my theory, and I've seen that happen. Squeeze pages are 2014, 2015. They're kind of old school now. People want to know more. If I send you to a landing page and it's a one action, or say, okay, I'll take that, but how long have you been in business? Do you have any reviews? Where are you located? Are you local to me? What's the times of your shipping? If you miss 2 of those or 1 of those, then they say, they're 1 back button away from 3 of your competitors. So just know that unless you are that landing page is perfect, and you have every objection covered that they can't find themselves on another page, then you can use a landing page. But in my opinion, why not just use the website and send them to the most relevant page on the website, and try to make your landing page inside of that page on your website? Because if they need to navigate anywhere else, I'm not stopping them, and they're not just going to bounce because they get frustrated. So think about this. These people are going to be halfway paying attention, chasing their kids around Target on their phone. You got to be perfect every time. So that's the thing too, is if they can't just be like, well, who is this? Are they close to me? Whatever it may be, unless you get all those objections and you know them all perfectly, I find that website pages way outperform landing pages, sometimes to like a 10 to 1. It's been ridiculous. For a large company, we did an A/B test. I sent it. They built me a landing page. I A/B tested sending it to their home as traffic to their homepage, and we ended up within 2 weeks shutting off those landing pages because the homepage just crushed everything because people just got to where they needed to go. I work with roofers. So do you believe a standalone landing page? No, I work with roofers too. Very similar scenario that I just labeled. Absolutely use the website. Please, people, and I'm not generalizing anything, but we're marketers, so we have to sometimes profile people as avatars. But blue collar, typically like to have a little bit more in the way of, handshake and eye-to-eye stuff. You really can't landing page or squeeze page a lot of those people. They need to know, that you're one of the good ones, because there's a big industry with $60,000, $80,000 jobs that they're going to be, basing their decisions on. So whether you're generating roof traffic leads, or you're trying to generate other roofers to buy leads from you, I've never had a squeeze page outperform a website. I've always built a squeeze page within a website, but still leave the full navigation. Because if you're wrong, you're not going to know. They're just not going to convert. All right, I will increase my target CPA. Thank you. Yep, no worries, Alvin. Smart shopping, 9,700 clicks, 17,000 spent, 43,500 conversion value. Some not counted because of time lag. 270 ROAS. Can I consider raising the budget by 10% every 3 to 4 days? What's the time lag, Sam? Is it campaign burning without ROAS goal for almost 30 days? Yep, Sam. Let me know what the time lag is. Let me know what that time lag is, and I'll give you a good strategy. Interdeep, thank you for detailed answer, but I don't think with exact match campaigns we can have more ad relevancy by putting relevant keywords in ad copy, which have a better click-through rate. Wouldn't Google consider? Yeah, Google's not going to take your ad relevancy score and use that as the deciding factor based on keyword. Again, test it. I've never had that case happen. I think I shared with the masterclass, I did an evaluation for a very, very large international multi-billion-dollar printing company, printer company, that was running into this issue. And even with $100,000 in ad spend, still the same scenario. I've not had a case where a broad match was not starting to just scoop up phrase and exact match traffic on its own to a point where I could not stop it because of the amount of just pure diversity in search terms. So try it. I've just never had that result. I've never had exact match and phrase match campaigns since November 16th of 2020 beat my broad campaigns. It hasn't happened yet. Or it has by a very marginal amount, but I can only spend like $200 a day on it, and I can never scale up from there, and the clients get mad at me, and I have to switch back over to broad. Let's see. Sam, oh yeah, or should we campaign running? Yeah. So Sam, let me know what your time lag is. We'll go from there. Because my exact campaign has better search top impression share at cheaper CPC than broad campaign. That's why I asked you about use of conversion action. Yeah, so I would say, yeah, that's right. So you can use conversion action sets there. That's absolutely true. My opinion is the top impression share at cheaper CPC than broad match campaign. You're going to be right because that keyword is showing up at the top, but there's a thing called vanity metrics that we tell our clients. Our clients pay us to give very specific results. They really don't care if they're found on the page 67 of the plumbing magazine inside of Australia or the top page of Google, as long as they're getting the results that they need. So I don't use top search impression share as a strategy unless I know that it's highly competitive. They have a really short conversion lag. The first person that gets consideration wins. That's when I'll use that, and I'll use exact match for those specific keywords. So if you need to have that, that's what I'm saying. If you need to have that visibility, whether you're running broad or phrase or exact, top search impression share, search impression share is what it's called now. It used to be called top. So search impression share will get you that visibility. That strategy still stands. But if cost per conversion is more important than visibility, and regardless of how they found you, especially for, let's say it's for e-commerce, sometimes broad will win, or at least have more scalability. Again, I can't give you an answer just because it's kind of a question. I don't have a deep dive and build a strategy for you, but just consider those variables. Michael Johnson, hey, can you share some of the tips, tricks, nuances for the real estate motivated seller campaigns you used to run, or do you have a non-compete since you sold the agency? So we don't have a non-compete, but some of the nuances, that campaign, just stupid competitive. I mean, people dumping in tens of millions a month inside of very localized campaigns I was competing against. So the tip for that was cost per conversion was going to be high. I mean, sometimes we had keywords at $80 to $110 per click. So what I found to be the best is I chose 880 keywords. I used pure broad and exact match. No phrase, but pure broad and exact match in two different campaigns. This is before the pure broad update of November 16th, so it's probably not going to be applicable anymore. But I chose 880 keywords in one campaign with one ad group with one ad. Sounds stupid. Probably was stupid, but it worked so well because I knew that Google learned off of conversions. And if I can give an immense amount of conversions to a campaign, one ad group and one ad, it helps scale that thing really, really quickly. I was getting 25% conversion rates in that campaign because I never A/B tested. I never changed. It just got better, faster, stronger because I'm like, well, what if I just crowdsourced all of the perfect keywords that I could possibly conjure up? Because we're running big campaigns. I had thousands of keywords, search terms I could pull from. I chose the 880 that worked the best, stuck that in one campaign, one ad group, one ad, and in one 60-mile radius, and did this in multiple states, and just really great consistent results. I can tell you that after our departure, customer departure, another agency took over and changed that into more of the traditional way. SCAGs, keyword sculpting, except manual CPCs. I saw the cost per conversion. I still have access to the HubSpot account, go from about 250, 300 up to about 550. So I can't tell you exactly what they did differently. Besides, I know that I saw them start to change those into, and I was just like, I don't think that's going to work. They did the traditional route, still got good, 20% or like 18 and 15% conversion rates, but they weren't leaning on Google's algorithm at high spends, and so that's where it started to dwindle. But some of the nuances, the thing that I would say is we did something called lead back. I had a result of every lead that I dropped off at their door. They had to work that lead and tell me if it was a good lead or bad lead. And what we found is that keywords between the differences of a person that ended up selling the property to the real estate investor and not selling the property to the real estate investor was very keyword driven and unbelievable. I'll give you a quick example. We had two keywords: sell my house fast, sell my home fast. People that typed in sell my house fast and people that typed in sell my home fast, about the same impressions, about the same clicks, about the same conversion rate. The people that typed in sell my home fast converted 80% less to a deal, and sell my house fast converted about 80% more to an actual deal. On Google Ads screen, everything looks great. In reality, they were only converting half of those because of the keyword differences. The people that are typing in sell my home fast. Their dog's buried in the backyard. They got this house passed down from grandmother. They're going to give it to their grandkids, or they're going to retire there. They have an emotional attachment to that home. Semi-house fast, less emotional attachment to the home. It's a piece of property I need to fix. It's a fix and flip. It's a fixer-upper, whatever it is. They just need to move that property. So the way that people are searching is indicative of their emotional connection to something. And if you choose the one that's going to be harder to pry out of their hands, they're going to convert less. That was a big lesson that we learned. So make sure your keyword strategy is also followed through to after the point of lead generation. Don't just drop it off the front door and wash your hands of it. Say, how was this? Was it good? Tell me the objections. Was anything good or bad? Sometimes search terms that's like, move my house. Maybe not as an upscale, but like, find investment banker to purchase my property. Sometimes you have a little bit more of a upscale type of mentality. So you can say like, wow, these people actually convert less often than the people that just need quick cash now because they're desperate. Again, not trying to profile, but those things were important. Cool. Kevin, awesome. I'm trying to advertise a CRM. My main audience is affiliate marketing, agency owners, e-commerce. I created separate landing pages with copy targeting those separate audiences. Would love feedback. That's a good strategy. We did this with not a CRM tool, but it was like a SaaS product that had kind of a CRM tool built in. And we found that people that were looking to build their own website and start their own courses worked really, really well. What we found is we had like 3 or 4 different campaigns with 3 or 4 different avatars with 3 or 4 different landing pages. But what we did is we knew that the landing page, and Samir, this might be important for you, everything on that landing page was relevant to all audiences. We rearranged the landing page content to be more urgent to one audience. So let's say affiliate marketing, they might say, you might have something that's really important to affiliate marketers. Your agency owner page might have something that's obviously really important to your agency owners. For e-commerce, you might have something that's really important to the e-commerce. But what we noticed is that if I kept everything on each one of those pages, the content the same, just rearranged them, we found that the e-commerce, liked the e-commerce, but they also liked another area. And we liked that the affiliate liked the headlines, the top headlines, but they also liked everything else we had to say. So make sure that if you have separate landing pages, is there anything that the agency owners are going to just care about just as much as the e-commerce? And is that also featured on that page? That's why I don't like landing pages, because it's like, you have to tell me what's important to every single person coming to your website. And if you don't know that, you're off. So make sure that what we did is we built a huge page and we just rearranged it for the audience. And then we found that one audience just performed so much better. So we just shut off the other 2 and just scaled to 1. But just know that that landing page, make sure that you're not taking anything away from the e-commerce and giving it to the agency owner page. That would also be important to the e-commerce. So that would be my tip. Sam, 3 to 5 days. Perfect. If you're running at 270 ROAS and you're good there, yeah, you can absolutely scale. Just know that if you scale by 10%, you might dip that thing down to like 240 and just hang tight, because without a ROAS goal, it might not come back. So give it time. Let's check in next week. I would increase by 10%. You're going to see that 270, I would imagine, go down to like 210 to 240. Hang tight there, because you're going to take at least a week to start to see those conversions start to come back. And then if they do start to come back, then hang tight for there. And then wait at least 14 or 30 days before you scale again, because what you want to do is build consistency. You don't want to scale and it dips, and as soon as it comes back, scale again, and then it dips, and you're just going to outpace your learning algorithm. So make sure that you're doing it in giving it enough time after scale is just as important as giving it enough time before you would ever like backtrack. Time is your friend, especially in smart shopping campaigns. So if you scale and it dips, wait for it to come back. When it comes back, though, wait longer so that that's the norm, and then scale again, and it'll dip and come back. Alvin, and I have about 2 minutes left. Alvin, discovery with custom audience search keyword versus standard shopping. Which one is better to feed smart shopping campaigns? Standard shopping, absolutely. Standard shopping is discovery is going to be top of funnel. People that may want to buy, just not buy yet, or they're thinking about it, or they might buy in 1 to 3 months. But your standard shopping means here's the people that are looking to buy now. So your standard shopping campaigns is a lot more bottom of the funnel, a lot e-commerce. Think about this for as an example. If I'm a shopper and I see a product, I'll give you a use case. We had a product that was a $300 sanitizer, a hand sanitizing dispenser, and it was a foot powered one. It was $300 and it was huge. It was stainless steel, really, really cool looking, but it was an upscale product. Who needs $300 hand sanitizer dispensers? Not me, but people do. So we found on Shopping Campaign, we ran that at the same time as Smart Shopping. If a person is going to click on that ad, what did they just agree to? They agreed that that big hand sanitizer dispenser, that stainless steel that costs $300 is, yeah, something I'm interested in because they see the picture, they see the price. They've already agreed that that's not outrageous or something I don't want, and they clicked on it to go look at it. So Smart Shopping is indicative of, hey, you might have a crazy price product that's huge, but the people click on that ad, they've agreed to, yeah, I'm okay with that price and I'm okay with what that looks like. So just know that that's where your buyers are going to come from. Michael Johnson, how much information do you guys ask for in your lead forms? We ask for a lot. Ours, we ask for, I'll give you an example. First name, last name, email, phone number, the website that you're going to drive paid traffic to, your monthly budget, what you're currently, are you currently running Google, and how did you hear about us? So that's what we ask for in our forms, and they're required. Sam, thank you. Awesome value as always, love, and you're very welcome. Sam, and then, sorry. In your lead forms, that one was actually pretty simple. It was, I still have it up. Hold on 1 second. I'll check it out real quick. It's loading. 1 moment. That one in the real estate was, it's not loading right now. Anyway, first name, last name, email, phone number, and your property address. We need to know the property address because the real estate people need to know, they need to do some research on that property immediately as soon as it comes in. Yes, you're here. Looks like comps are here. Well, this one, blah, blah, blah. That was what they needed to get the ball rolling because anybody that was looking to sell their property quickly for cash, they were all over the board. You know, I inherited this property, or I just lost my job, or everything else didn't really matter. It was just, I need to sell my house quickly for cash, and here's my property. That's everything that they needed. Thank you for today. Amazing insights, John. Awesome. Thank you very much, everyone. I have to jump, but really appreciate everyone. Thank you so much for everyone's time, and we'll see you in 2 weeks from now. Next week I'll be out of town, but the week after I'll be back. Thanks, everyone. Bye.